So today we're going to talk about embarrassing stories, more particularly story that I had when I was in sixth grade, something really embarrassing that happened to me. Luckily it's pretty funny, but I do lay awake at night just like cringing thinking about it. I want to apologize in advance. They're doing like painting or construction in the building below me. I live on top of a cafe, and so they're doing something down there. So it might be a little bit loud. There's people coming on the road next to us too, so it's just kind of a big mess today. Also, I've got really wet hair because I just got out of the shower, but that's okay too. This is the Daily Davis. I am your host, Davis Morgan. Today we're talking about embarrassing stories, but if you didn't know, this is a show where we talk about a whole bunch of stuff, primarily ADHD related content though. So we talk about ADHD medication, what it's like to live with it, whether you have it or not. So if you're interested in that, or if you're interested in just hearing me ramble about whatever I have in my mind, then please subscribe. At the time of recording, we're at 240 subscribers, which is actually really cool. Like, we're kind of blowing past my expectations here. So if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for watching. But like I said, Daily Davis, they come out every single day. It'll always be me talking about something, whether it's ADHD, a story from my life, or just talking about art or music. I have a video about music right now. But anyway, I don't want to bore you guys anymore. Let's get into this. So this story happened when I was in sixth grade. So if you don't know the American school system, I have some viewers who are from the UK. You typically go to your elementary school, your grade school, until fifth grade, until you're like 11 or 10. I think it's when you're 10. And when you're 11, you go to middle school. So it's a different school. The way that middle school worked when I was going to it was that, like, we had a bunch of different elementary schools that would feed into one middle school, but it wasn't that every single person from an elementary school would go to the same middle school. I went to a different middle school than most of the people that went to my elementary school did. So I kind of got split off from my group. I had a couple of really good friends that stayed with me, but for the most part, most of the people that I knew in elementary school were gone, which to me was okay because when I was in elementary school, I was super quiet and shy, kind of just awkward, and I'm still awkward now. I'm a little bit less quiet and shy. I'm still like the most outgoing guy ever, but definitely was like a really kind of quiet and awkward kid. And so when I got to middle school, I was like, this is my chance to reinvent myself. I was like, nobody really knows me here. I can be the class clown. I can be outgoing. Like, this is gonna be awesome. And so it's like middle school starts, and the entire day I'm just thinking about it. I'm like kind of talking to people, like being a little bit more outgoing than I would normally. Like, and I was feeling pretty good. I was like still really shy, so still like a quiet kid, but like, trying to like kind of break out of that stereotype. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I'm making some strides here. And my middle school, we had 6 classes every single day. And so I went to my first 3, which were like math, science, reading, that kind of stuff. And then I went to band class and met people there. I went to an art class I really liked. And then I got to my PE class, or physical education, like our gym class essentially. And this is where, like, in my gym class, you all like sat on these big bleachers. There's a lot of people in there. And I was like, okay, this is going to be my big moment to break out and be like, okay, listen, I'm not this quiet kid anymore. I'm gonna be like just this bombastic guy now. And so I'm like sitting the entire day, I'm like rubbing my hands together, like this is my moment. It's like, if I can just seize this single tiny moment in PE, then I will be smooth sailing for the rest of the year, the rest of middle school, and probably for the rest of my entire life. I was convinced that this was gonna drastically alter the course of my destiny if I could just make one funny quip and I could just stop being the quiet kid. So anyway, we're sitting on the bleachers. There's like 60 kids in the class, and our teacher's sitting there, really awesome guy. He's a Canadian hockey player, super cool guy. But he's sitting there reading out the names, like calling out people for attendance. And he gets to me and he's like, Davis Morgan? And I'm like, here, like super quietly. I'm like, just like, my brain like collapsed in that moment. Like, I was like, I don't know why. I've been thinking all day about being this bombastic loud guy. And as soon as he's like, Davis Morgan, I'm like, here. And he doesn't hear me, so he calls it again. He's like, Davis Morgan? And I'm like, oh, here. And then he looks at me, and I kid you not, he like looks down to mark off my name at on the clipboard, and I kid you not, he says, oh yeah, you must be one of the quiet ones. And my brain freaking broke. Like, in this moment, my brain snapped. Like, what I did next, I have no explanation for. I don't think I've done anything like this in my life, but I think if I had, my mind would have physically blocked off that portion of my memory from myself to spare myself the embarrassment because of what I did in this next moment. So I'm sitting there, I just hear, you're one of the quiet kids, and it's like, my worldview has shattered. I'm like, I'm being pegged as the quiet kid right now. I have to do something to stop it. And so in what I can only describe as a moment of pure desperation, I just, out of nowhere, just go, no, I'm not. I don't know why I did that. And it was extra terrible because I started quiet and like gained a lot of misplaced confidence midway through saying not. So it was like, no, I'm not. And then I just went crazy. And it was just dead silence. Like I remember, I can literally picture this in my head that my PE teacher looked up from his little thing like, what is wrong with this kid? Like, should I call somebody about this? He didn't say anything. And like, I was in like the back of the bleachers and people were literally like looking up at me because they were so concerned about what had just happened. And like, it was one of those moments where I wish people would have just laughed or called me a weirdo, but nobody said anything. They're like, who is this psychopath who is screaming in PE that he is not a quiet kid? And I don't even remember what, I thought I got really, really red because I get really red when I get nervous. And I just kind of like crumpled into myself. And then like, for the entire rest of the year, most of middle school, I was just dead quiet. Like I was like, being loud does not work. It is not working out for me. I'm just gonna be a quiet kid. And it ended up being totally fine. But oh my gosh, thinking about me just going, no, I'm not, really loudly is like complete psychopath behavior. And so luckily I've not done anything like that since then, thank goodness. But yeah, that is probably the most embarrassing experience from my childhood that I still regularly think about. So if you've got a really embarrassing story, feel free to share it if you don't feel too uncomfortable with it. Everybody's got them. Mine was just like, I cannot believe that is what I did in that moment. But anyway, finishing off here, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching my other stuff. The support I've seen on especially the ADHD stuff has been incredibly awesome. Like I said, there's always going to be more ADHD content. I think I might be doing like an every other video is going to be ADHD related. So if you're here for that, there's always going to be more of that stuff. But if you're somebody who likes listening to the other stuff, like just the random stories I tell, I've got more of that going. And if you're somebody who watches both, then you're a real one because I like doing both styles of content. I don't want to be just a solely an ADHD YouTuber, even though I do think there's a space for that. I want to be somebody who also talks about more stuff as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are super supportive. I'm loving it. I'm loving making this stuff, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.